Hi, my name is Kari and I'm the product architect here at FieldSync. What I'd like to go over with you in this video is the configurable fields that we have that utilize and allow you to capture the date and time within your forms. Now, as you know, configurable fields allow you to set up your tasks for data entry in your logs so that you can capture the information from your staff and your users that you want to capture. So let's go ahead and jump right in and take a look at the configurable field types that relate to either date or time. Now I'm going to utilize the logs area of FieldSync to demonstrate this to you. So to set up logs, we need to go into the settings area and select the logs tab. And here you can see I have several different logs that I've set up. So I'm going to come into my configurable fields date and time and select edit. So you can see that I already have some configurable fields set up down here that utilize the 5 different control types that we have related to date and time. Now as I go through these, I'm going to just show you an example of each of them on the mobile application so you can get an idea of what they look like. Now the first type that we have available I have set up here is my supervisor review date, and the type is a date control. Now what this means is your users are presented with a field that allows them to choose a date from a date control. So let's go ahead and go over to the mobile application and bring the form up. I'm going to come into my logs, select logs, choose new to create a new one. And when I select from the type, my configurable fields date and time type, you'll see that all of my time fields that I've set up for this log are displayed here. Okay, so for the date type field, what I'm presented with on the mobile application is the ability to select a date from a date control. You will also have the same type of functionality on the web. So you can see you can go in and change the date, and it will always default to today's date, and then you can make changes and set the date. Now the second type that we have is our time control. So here you can see that I have it set up as a time of appointment, and the type is time. If I go over to my form, you can see here that I have my time of appointment field. And when I choose select, I'm allowed to indicate the hour. Again, it will default to the current time, the minutes, and then whether it's AM or PM. And then I can choose the time. If I need to change that, then I can go back in, I can clear it, or I can set the time and then change it. So that's the time control type. The third type we have is a date stamp. Now this is different from the date control in that the users cannot change or control what is collected. So let's go back over to our form, and you can see here that I have a set button. When I choose set, it collects the date. As you can see, now that I've selected it, I don't have any way to select in the field and make a change. So in the event that you want to capture the true date and you don't want the possibility of false information or inaccurate information to be collected, then you can utilize the date stamp control type. Similarly, for the time in, as you can see here on our setup, we also have a time stamp field that does exactly the same thing. When you choose set, it captures the actual time, and it's down to the hour, minute, and second. And again, you can't go in and edit that data once it's collected. And then finally, we also have a date time stamp. So that's what I've used for this final control. And what that does is combines those two controls and captures the date and the time in one control. And then when I save this data, again, I cannot edit it. So some of the scenarios that you might use these different controls for would be, for example, if you're capturing time card information and you want it to be a true timestamp of when your users started working, then you would want to use either the date timestamp and capture the date and the time in one control, or potentially use one control as a date stamp and one control as a timestamp, and they would select both of those. So that really is your preference. You do have the ability to export the data into Excel so that you can do your payroll reports. So it really just depends on how you want that reporting to come out. Now, in the event that maybe the time needs to change or the date needs to change, then you would want to use these controls up here because you have the ability to go in and make those edits. So if you're choosing a date for a future appointment or something like that, you might want to keep that in mind. But for any of those sensitive fields where you want to make sure that your users are not entering false information, then you'll want to use the timestamps. So let's quickly look at the web application at that same form just so you can see what it looks like on the web. So I'm going to come into log, select add new log. Again, I'll choose that configurable fields type, and you can see here my same controls. The supervisor review date is set up as a date control. We get a date picker that allows us to choose the date. We can go in and change it. The time of appointment provides you with a time picker, and we have it set up for hour increments, and then you can just come in and type in the time if you need to enter down to the minutes. And then here's our 3 stamp fields: our set date, our set time, and then the set date and time. So hopefully this has been helpful in showing you how those different controls work and gives you some possible scenarios with how you might use those types of controls. If you have any questions about the date and time control types, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. Thank you.